Hello, my name's David Prosser and I'm the editor of Company Secretaries Network. We're here in the studio today to talk about board portal technology. I'm joined by Chris Tawney, who's an independent journalist who specialises in this area, and by Charlie Horrell, who's the Managing Director EMEA of Diligent Board Books. Charlie, why don't we start by getting you to tell me a little bit about Diligent?
So Diligent is headquartered in New York. It was created in 2001. We're listed on the New Zealand Stock Exchange, and right now we've got a valuation of around 500 million Kiwi dollars, a little less than that in American dollars. And we've got a product of an electronic portal for companies to manage their board books. It's sold as a service and we provide it to our clients worldwide.
And what exactly is a board portal for those who aren't familiar with the technology?
It's actually very simple. It's a way for companies to send confidential, secure information to their executives, directors, anywhere in the world, very easily, for them to read in a digital format.
Right, so a digital format on a tablet computer, on their PC?
It's on pretty much any device. It was originally created for a laptop, so it was to be used on a laptop PC. And then along came the iPad, so that had an application. But equally, it can be used through a browser on any connected device. So you have three choices: laptop, iPad, or browser.
So Charlie, who's the customer for this kind of service? Are we talking about the business itself, or is it the director?
Contractually, it's with the business, the enterprise, who takes the license to our service. Actually, in terms of support and service, it's the human being, be they administrators or directors. And in fact, the directors that we have now sit on many, many boards, and typically we find that they can then cross-pollinate our service through to other boards, which is very helpful from our point of view.
So you will have directors who are using this technology, this service, across several different boards for several different companies?
I think the maximum we have actually at the moment is one person sitting on 6 companies that we serve. So he has 6 versions of board papers, all held separately, all secure, never intermingled, but he's able to go into the 6 different board meetings with one iPad, all of the papers being relevant to the individual company, and it's great from his point of view. There are many with more than one, many with 2 or 3. We have several with 4, but I think he's the winner at the moment with 6.
Could you tell us a little bit about the challenges that boards face at the moment? Absolutely.
The challenges are getting greater and deeper. There's no two ways about that. So firstly, there is the question of the oversight they're meant to provide to companies. They're meant to help companies and make decisions with them. But equally, they're under a huge amount of scrutiny these days, from the regulatory environment, from the shareholders, but equally from the management of the company themselves, who expect the directors to help them. In addition to that, they're now faced with a large volume of data, of information that's coming towards them that they need to synthesize and understand. So they're in a complicated position. It's getting more complicated, and we're part of the solution to that.
And who's this technology primarily aimed at? Are we talking about directors of very large companies?
So I guess we have a skew towards larger companies, but there are lots of smaller companies that use our service as well. And in fact, quite an interesting statistic is that half of our clients are public, so listed, and the other half are private. So there are quite a lot of healthcare, education-based businesses that use our service very happily.
And what's the appeal of the service then? Why would an executive decide to go with this form of technology rather than sticking with the board paper pack that he's been using for many years?
Well, the traditional problem of board paper packs is the sheer size of them. They're many hundreds of pages, so you're looking at something that's kilos of weight and inches of centimetres of height. And the physical production and distribution of that to directors when they're going to be probably nowhere near you is extremely challenging. So as companies have faced this question over time, they have decided that now is the time, now is the availability of them to move to a digital format that lets them transport it electronically.
Right, I see. So it works very well if directors are on the move, for example.
It's absolutely ideal if they're on the move, but actually even if they're sitting still but nowhere near the company that they're going to work with, it's of benefit. I guess the days used to exist when firstly the packs were fairly small, but also we were geographically close, so you could physically provide the papers relatively easily. Now we're in a world where there's huge distances between directors, and what this does is completely overcome that distance in one hop.
But presumably they need some sort of internet access. I mean, presumably this is a technology that works through the internet.
Absolutely, it's internet-based, it's an IP-based business, and therefore you need either some form of Wi-Fi connection or 3G connection works perfectly well, and clearly in a 4G world it'll work even quicker than 3G.
So if we started to see pretty good penetration of this technology, would you expect most large companies in particular to be using the technology now?
Absolutely, even medium-sized companies, no two ways about it. And certainly there's been a tipping point in the last 2 or 3 years. Prior to that, there would have been a question of why would we be using a portal? Now there's the reverse question, which is why would we not be using a portal, and then which one do we choose?
What do your clients see as the biggest benefit from using this kind of portal?
Well, it comes down to 3 things in the end. There are 3 words associated with our service when you really get down to it. The first is security. It's much more secure than any other method of transporting the papers and the information to directors. The second is simplicity. It's a very, very easy way for the information to be transported from A to B and provided to the directors. And lastly, there's a support network around it, which is of huge benefit to the directors and gives them the 24/7 accessibility, which is what they're after.
Can I ask about product penetration specifically in the UK? Because
Sure.
this is clearly an international business.
Sure.
Are UK companies at the forefront of adopting this technology or catching up?
I guess the forefront would be the US. They probably got to that tipping point a year or 2 before the UK. The UK is absolutely at that tipping point right now. In fact, it's got beyond it. As a couple of metrics, we have 33 of the FTSE 100 as clients right now, and that's rising quite quickly month on month. We have an equal sort of penetration of the FTSE 250 type of customer base, and then a large number of private companies as well also use our service.
Okay, Charlie, that's great. Thank you very much. Let's move on now to talk about security.